Hello, friends. This is another video in our series of videos about the lines of the human design profile. So the human design profile, it's like your character, right? It's kind of like how you show up in your life. It has to do with kind of your tendencies, how you tend to just, engage with things and how your energy tends to work. It's a really important foundational part of your human design. So it's a really good thing to get to know about. And it's also good to know about other people's lines and other people's profiles as well, because it'll help you understand the important people in your life much better. And you'll know how to not take things so personally, because sometimes we take things personally, which is really just about how energy works. So this is our series on the lines of the profile. And today we're going to talk about the sixth line, which is known as the role model in traditional human design, or the adept in quantum human design. And the sixth line is unique among all of the different lines for a very particular reason. So let's go ahead and dive in and find out what that reason is. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. I'm delighted that you're here. And I'm Maggie Ostara. I'm a human design expert, and I am a sovereignty mentor for women at midlife. And I really focus on using human design as an ally and a partner to help us to strip away the cultural conditioning that has led us away from who we really are and tried to slot us into consumer culture, into the matrix, if you will. And so human design is a really great partner to help us to see what might be more genuine and more authentic, more innate to ourselves. And the profiles really help us to do that, which is why we're doing a series on the profiles. So the sixth line profile is unique among all the lines of the profile in that it has 3 life stages built into it. Now, let me just say that all of us go through life stages, of course, right? And all of us have the opportunity to have a developmental life where we're continually kind of growing ourselves and learning about ourselves and, growing new capacities and so on. So we all have the ability to do that. But the sixth line actually has it built into how they experience life. So let's talk about what those 3 life stages are. So during the first life stage, the sixth line operates very much like the third line. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of depth about that. You can go and take a look at my video on the third line to learn more about that. But just in short, the third line is known as they were called the martyr in traditional human design. I never use that term anymore, but you may have heard it. Or the explorer or the experimenter, because third lines like to learn through experience, right? They like to do stuff. They like to get engaged in things, and they like to try this, and they like to try that, and they like to try the other, right? So they tend to really want to engage, but not so much really go deep on things so much as just try lots and lots of different things. So the sixth line has that same tendency until they're about 30, 35, right? When they get into their 30s, they start to slow down a lot of times and be like, okay, boy, I really tried a lot of different things. What was it I did? What was all of that? And they start to take stock of what it is that they have been engaging in. They start to be discerning about, well, gosh, I did that. I really enjoyed it at the time, but I never need to do that again. Or I did that. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I totally want to build it into my life. Or there's things, I wish I had never done that. And, I did learn something. I'm going to keep the learning, but not going that direction again. So they start going through this kind of discerning process or discerning process. And that then fosters a period of integration. Now, Rahu, who is the founder of human design, named this middle phase being on the roof. And the idea here is that, during that third line phase, the sixth line is very engaged with life. They're just doing lots of stuff, right? And then they're like, okay, wait a minute, I got to withdraw a little bit, and I have to start to observe. And if you think about, if you're literally on a roof, right, you get a bigger perspective than we usually get just looking out of a window or just looking out of a door, right? They're up high, they can see a lot of things, and they're really looking to get a big perspective, which is great. But it's also kind of distant from engaging with life. So this is the idea of that middle period, which I really think of, like I said, as a period of integration. And it's not like you can't go on learning or developing or creating things or anything like that. It doesn't mean that. But what it does mean is it's not necessarily, you're not necessarily so driven by that desire to try so many different things. And you might find it easier to deepen into certain things, to really kind of go, okay, I did like 50 things and now here are my top 10. And then here's the 3 that I really want to go deep on, right? It could be a period that's like that. And then they can be really engaging more. But sometimes during that middle phase, which goes until about the 50, about the Chiron return, is a period where sometimes the fifth line feels a little confused or a little uncertain about their direction. Or about their purpose. Not because they can't feel on purpose doing things during that time, but they also know there's kind of a gestation that's going on, if you will, during that period, where they're gestating and they're integrating and they're kind of being like, okay, what is it that I am creating myself into now? And then comes the third phase, which is known as that role model phase or the adept phase. And the idea here is that through that process of having tried many different things and then having taken the time to sort through them and integrate them, that role model emerges from these 2 earlier phases as somebody who is adept at the things that they decided they really wanted to go deeper with, right? And that they have a integrated sense of self, which can be a role model for other people. Now, as I said a little at the beginning, right, is we all can have developmental stages where we do something not dissimilar to what the sixth line does, but which just not necessarily so extreme as what the sixth line does. But the sixth line does this to a degree where they can step forward and we can kind of be like, wow, look at that person. They're really integrated. They're really clear about what it is that they're interested in, what they're engaged in. And they're just on purpose doing that at this point of their lives. Now, it's not like you magically wake up on your 50th birthday and that happens. It's also a process that unfolds during that time as well. But with some of the challenges that can happen for the sixth line is that they can get stuck in their third line phase. They can get stuck in just trying things out, and never going deeper with things and not integrating. And this, of course, can be a challenge for the third line as well. They eventually, at some point, want to slow down and start to integrate what it is that they've been experiencing. But for that sixth line, they're really meant to not have that be their life experience through their whole life experience. But let's remember that consumer culture actually really encourages us to do that. It's kind of like always on to the next thing, right? Always the grass is greener, always, buy this new thing, do this new thing, do this new program, go to this new location, whatever it is. And so that's a challenge that the sixth line can have, is they can get a little stuck in that third line phase. The other thing that can happen for them is that they can get a little stuck on the roof. And this is especially the case if they are not really owning their worthiness and their deservedness. If they're in that kind of middle phase and they're feeling kind of like, I don't really know who I am or what it is that I'm here to do or what, and if they stay in that phase and don't really kind of go, okay, let me pull this together. Let me settle. Let me consolidate. Let me create a foundation for this second half of my life that I'm going to move into after my Chiron turn around age 50, right? So if you are a sixth line or a sixth line, this is something to be paying attention to know that you do want to keep moving through these phases and not to be getting stuck in them, because that will prevent you from really being able to reach your full potential. So one of the main superpowers of the sixth line is actually this laid out kind of developmental experience where they are being able to fully engage with life and then consolidate and integrate and then emerge as a whole person. And this is also a great role model for us as we're developing our personal sovereignty, because sovereignty is actually a developmental process. It's not just a state of being that you reach. It's actually an ongoing process of development, because after all, there's no end to the level through which our soul can incarnate into this form and experience life here on earth, right? There's no end to that experience. There's no end to our ability to continue to explore and to grow and develop, right? So there's no end to that. Yet at the same time, it's helpful to have signposts along the way, right? And that's part of what the sixth line has. And so that ability to grow oneself into a more whole, integrated person is a sign of personal sovereignty. And so the six lines in them doing that really are role models for us in that sense, as we're growing into this kind of fully embodied, this integrated, this whole, this empowered, this grounded, this spiritually alive and illuminated being that we are when we're sovereign. The sixth line, I think they're really the role model for us for our sovereignty. Let me just make a distinction here between character development and soul development, because character development is like our developing who we are in ordinary reality, right? The you that you know is you, if you want to think of it as kind of your personality self. And the profiles are our character. So we're growing inside of what our profiles are, what we think of as our character. And it really has a lot to do with how we're showing up, right, on a day-to-day basis. And if you think about like your favorite movie or your favorite book or whatever, right, novel, you know that the characters, they go through development, right? It would be boring if they were the same person at the end that they were at the beginning, right? They go through life experience and they become a better version of themselves, hopefully by the end of the book or the movie, right? And same with us. By the end of our lives, we hope that we become a better people by the end there. But then there's also soul development. So soul development has more to do with how we are really breaking apart the conditioning that has led us to be a small fraction of who we really are, because we are light beings in human form, right? Our soul or essence is a light being. Right? It is an expanded part of who we are that is much more in touch with the higher frequencies in the light realms. And that aspect of us reduces part of herself to come into this form, but there's no end to how much that process can go, like I said a minute ago. So that's more like our soul development. How can we be bringing more soul qualities in? How can we be opening our hearts more, living more from love and from compassion and from forgiveness and from creativity and from joy and pleasure, right? And interconnectedness, all of those things. That has more to do with our soul development. So, of course, this influences how we show up in our daily lives, but they're a little bit different. And they're both part of our growth into more and more sovereign beings. And the sixth line absolutely can be leading the way on both character development and soul development as well. And then for your midlife woman who comes to me for a reading because she's decided that she really needs to change her life, right? When she discovers she's a sixth line, she's like, oh, sure, I have these stages. Oh, this is why I feel this way, right? It can be very affirming and liberating to realize you're actually right on time. You're not behind. So many of us go through our lives feeling like we're behind. You know what I mean? Like we never quite made it. We never cut the grade. We're, I don't know, somehow deficient in some way. And I just want to say really clearly here, that's all cultural conditioning. It really has nothing to do with you personally. And so this sense that we're kind of behind or we're slow or, you know, time's running out, that's another thing I hear from people a lot. This is all conditioning, right? None of that is actually true. And this idea that we're behind is like, behind what? Like, where were we supposed to get? We have this whole idea we're supposed to be in a certain place at a certain time in our life. Who's to say, right? I mean, our parents, right? The world around us says these things, but you could be just right on time with your own soul development and your own character development. So for that midlife woman, when she realizes she's a sixth line, she could very much be on the roof, or she could be moving off of the roof or just off the roof. looking at, okay, I'm off the roof now. What do I do? And so this model, right, of understanding this line can be really helpful for that sixth line woman because it can help her to understand kind of developmentally where she is. So let's say she's still on the roof phase. She doesn't like beat herself up thinking that she's supposed to be somewhere else, and to realize, oh no, I'm still in an integration phase. I'm still in a consolidating phase. And also for the sixth line woman who's past her 50th birthday, who's in her 50s, right? Or even in her 60s, can be like, oh, now it really is time for me to step into my wisdom years. It really is time for me to step into my adeptness. And she may need to continue to do some work to really feel like she can own that, but to realize, oh gosh, this is where I'm at, and I don't need any permission anymore to do what I came here to do. I just need to do it, right? I just need to trust myself and love myself enough, grow my inner guidance so that I'm getting the information that I need from the inside, from my own soul, my own inner being. I'm working with my human design authority so that I'm making decisions from the inside rather than from the outside or from the mind, right? All of those things. And when you know that you're working on those, you're creating a foundation for the whole rest of your life. So as I've been saying during this series, I really encourage you to watch all the videos of all the lines. Now, this is the final one. This is the sixth line. So all of them are done now. And to go and check out your other line and also the lines of the people in your life, I'll put the playlist at the very end of this video so you can go check it out. I will also put the little mini beginner's course in human design, which is right here on my YouTube channel called the Start Here beginner's guide, that can give you the foundation that you need in human design. And if you need your human design chart or your mandala, if you don't have your mandala, you definitely want to get that. You can also get it for free. The link for that will be down in the description and also at the end of the video, so that you'll be able to go and get that for yourself, because the mandala is really beautiful, and it's really great for you to have your own. It's kind of like the whole human design system right there in that one image. So I highly encourage you to get that. And if you haven't already, please do go ahead and subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. I would love to hear how you feel about being a sixth line or having a sixth line in your life, or if you've been watching the other videos to hear about how this is landing for you, or about how this is supporting you with your sovereignty, or if you are a woman in midlife, how does this land for you? Please do just let me know down in the comments, because it really does help me to understand how, what I'm offering to you in terms of this human design education is actually really supporting you. So I appreciate it when you take just a few minutes to let me know. Many, many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.